Hi guys, Jared here. Time for the market video update. We're starting a little bit later today to make sure that we can really see where these pairs are going and kind of what's going on. Quick little look as far as equities go. Oil still same area. Gold hasn't moved much. The Dow and the S&P are up just a little bit at the close here, 45 and about 6 points. Nothing too major. Equities are going slow, but for some reason the currencies are really blowing up, particularly the euro. The euro has been bought up like crazy, and we're going to talk a little bit about why that's been. Coming into tonight, we have UK retail sales. This is always a big mover. UK retail sales gets the market running, the pound dollar, pound yen, so look for big activity there. Then we have the CPI out of Canada, and we've got some existing home sales out of the US. So we're going to see if we can get some of this movement out of some of these pairs due to the news tomorrow. Should be exciting. Quick look at this euro. So once again, the euro has just rallied like absolute crazy over the last couple of days and made some nice runs up, and it's just plowing through key resistances. It's plowing through trend lines. It's just getting through everything, and I think a lot of traders are surprised by that. At least that's what I'm reading. There has just been stops taken on huge positions, and that kind of propels this upside movement when these big stops get taken out. So we've had a bit of a break of this trend line. This is a little bit of what I've been looking at today and the other and yesterday and so on. That if we get some breaks of this trend line right here, then this pair is very likely to make its way into the first daily fib on the other side before probably giving us a decent turnaround, decent reversal, and that's just a hair above at this point, anyways. Just a hair above the 130 mark. So 130 will be pretty good resistance anyways, and a little bit above that we'll see some daily fib and so on. So this is probably headed about 130.50, somewhere in that general area, before I'm expecting a bit of a bigger reversal and at least some retracement back down to the downside here. So we'll keep an eye on that. We've got some pretty nice opportunities for trades here and so on. At this point right now, I think we're going to be left a little bit with letting the market kind of define what it's going to do over the next couple of days. I don't know if I'm super interested in buying into these highs here. I think there's definitely some short-term opportunities, and there's always these little trend line breakouts, and we can see some of this action happening right here. We see a nice little double bottom right there, and so that may be able to push this pair higher through some of these trend lines, but I'm not a huge fan of really kind of picking these up at those big lows there. So look for some retracement, look for some breaks below about 129.50-ish, and see if we can get some retracement on here. You can see on this 5-minute chart that we've definitely got a bit of a trend line break that's in the works. I'm not sure if I'm going to trade this. I'm kind of in a stay out of the euro right now stage, but I think that this break right here could give us enough of the retracement that we're looking for to continue buying into some of these highs. There's lots of buying power on this euro right now. I think it's fading just a little bit, but there's definitely some interest there. There was a big bond auction that happened middle of the night, and it came out much better than expected. I think it was Spain and Italy. I think those were the two main ones. Everything went really well on those. There's less risk and less yields being paid out, so that's where the euro is getting a lot of push. But look for some of these breaks. Look for some dips down into maybe 129.25, 129.00 area. I don't think we're going to get quite down to that 129.00, and look for some little dips to buy this euro and be able to take it kind of right back on up. I think this is going to be a good thing to look for, some dips and some buys, but like I said, it's not in the best position right now for really much of anything except for maybe some retracement and then trying to pick it up at some of those lower areas. It's coming into some serious resistance, so it's going to start to sputter out just a little bit and turn, and that's why we're really just looking for breaks down and some dips and some opportunities to buy off of those lows. So that's what we're going to be keeping our eye out on. Same thing on this pound dollar. The pound dollar is still very much in a bearish channel, but it is coming into some pretty hairy resistance as well, and that is just right at the 61.8. That's right at 5,500. It came just shy of that actually by about 10 pips or so, I think our high of this candle, I think that was actually our high candle right there, and that had a high of 54.91. So really it came, 10 pips, 9 pips shy of that 5,500. I think it's going to find some good resistance there. So this may even be, for the pound dollar, something worth looking at as far as the sell opportunity side of things goes, with stops maybe just above that 5,500 area. So we're going to be looking at that. Some of the entry could be motivated by, we've got a little 5-minute trend line right here, and you can see some tests of these highs. The market's really chattering around up here, so there might be some little short-term activity to take down from here. The market's currently sitting at 54.85, so that gives pretty safe stops above that 61.8, above 5,500. I think we'll probably get another run at that level, so there's probably an opportunity to get in right at these highs, at least 54.90, and try to sell it down from there with a very tight stop. If you were to get stopped out on something like that, that would be a good area to reverse and buy and start taking it up. But I think it's going to have some pretty decent resistance and a pretty good fight at getting beyond that 5,500/61.8. So I'm going to be watching for that, keeping an eye on that. And if we do get a breakout on this one, and we're able to get this down into this 54.50-ish area, 30-40 pips down, that could be a good area to start looking for some buying opportunities once again as well. A lot of these pairs are kind of, they're at positions of, is the trend going to continue? Is this as far as the retracement goes? What's happening? Where are things going? And so it's a little bit of a decision point. So we don't have a lot of very, very clear entries, but there's some, just not really great ones in my opinion at this point. The euro yen has come up to some pretty crucial levels as well. This is big resistance. It's up into that 4-hour and daily gap. It's up just between that 50 and that 61 on the fib levels here, and really it's right at a key level. It just hit that 100 mark and it's consolidating, and I think we're probably going to get some pretty good resistance there, and we'll probably get some runs back down on this euro yen as well. So this one might be interesting to look for some slight retracements with stops just above these highs, just above that 100 mark. And as far as trend lines go, there's not too much of anything to look for a specific breakout there, but there might be as this forms through the UK session. So keep an eye on some little breaks with stops just above that 100 mark. Likewise, if we don't end up getting much of that, then we could see some more of this happening. You can see this trend line on this 1-minute chart that seems to be fairly well intact, and if we get a break of that, then this could be running back into that 100, which isn't super far away. As you can see, only about 10 or 12 pips, but there could be a nice little run, and it may be ready to kind of push through those highs. So keep an eye on that trend line. Keep an eye on a run back into the highs and a possible break of those highs, and that could really be kind of option number one, and then a sell off of that high right there to try to take it back down. So something to look for, something to keep an eye on. Pound yen's channeling just like the pound dollar, so it's everything's right up at that daily gap. I'm expecting and looking for some pushes through those daily gaps by just a little bit, and then looking for some opportunities to sell as it gets to the fib level on the other side of that 1-hour gap, or excuse me, that daily gap. So that's kind of what I'm looking for at this point. The Aussie dollar, this thing's really kind of been chopping around like crazy. I still have the same standpoint on this one, which is look for dips into the 103.75.80 area and buy off those lows. Buy off these lows down here and try to take it back to the top of the range. There's about a 50 to 75 pip channel that's kind of at play here. So look at buying, like I said, right around 103.70.80, 75.80, right in that general area. Get some stops down below these areas, nothing too major, and then just trade it back into the highs of these channels in hopes that we can finally get a break of the top of that channel. But even if we don't, there's still some good opportunities to buy off these lows and get 20 or 30 pips on the way on up. So that's a good little run there. Gold is getting very choppy. Gold is coming into some pretty serious resistance, coming into some pretty serious trendline activity. Again, we're still looking for that 1680, but I think 1680 might be fading and fleeting just a little tiny bit, and we're right at about 1670, so that might be the big breaking point and the area that we start to see some turns on gold and a heading right back down. So I'm going to keep an eye on that. Like I said, all these pairs are at crucial, very potential reversal points, but there's probably going to be some some little continuations up on these little 1 hour or 1 minute trend line breakouts. So keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on some retesting of the highs from these 1 minute trendline breakouts. You can see them across the board. They're kind of everywhere, and look to trade up to those highs. And once you get to those highs, give it a chance for a breakout through, but be conscious and aware of possible reversals off of those levels and some runs back down. So we'll keep an eye on that. Best of luck, guys. I'll see you in the chat, and we'll see you for our live session for the U.S. Friday morning. Thanks, everyone.